I was going to ask Dave anyway. Obviously, you mentioned kind of there your role as the board member means you kind of have to, not have to, that's the wrong word, but you go to every game home and away regardless. And obviously now you will continue to do that as chairman. But with the LinnetsLive stuff, obviously it provides everyone with the opportunity who might not be there to follow the game. And you spoke about kind of Paul out in Abu Dhabi and how big a commitment is that to be able to go to every home game and every away game, to knowing that you've kind of got to put on a show for people that might not be there?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite a big commitment, really, because before I got involved to the extent that I am, I pretty much went to every home game. But when I first started getting involved, I kind of, went to games when, I'm an Everton season ticket holder, so if Everton were away or weren't playing, I'd go to watch the Linnets. And then I started getting more and more involved. And then, the next thing, you find that you are at every single game. You go in, it's come from, it's a team that's 10 minutes down the road. So, I'll just go watch them to, I'm driving for an hour. I've had to buy a new car because my car packed in getting to Pickering and back. Literally on the way back, and tires gone down, engines, all kinds of, and that's kind of where it comes. But that's where you've kind of got to be not careful, but like you always want to enjoy it. We do this because we enjoy it. We go to watch football, so you do need to be careful that it doesn't become like a chore. Like you have to go. And even now, like we had to replace the kit man, and I got Josh to do it, Josh Christian, and Josh doesn't drive. So now not only have I got to go to do the commentary, but I've got to get Josh and the kit there for an hour and a half before the game. So I get there like Boxing Day game. I took my kids because I always take my kids to the Boxing Day game at Cables. So I get there and there's no one else there, and then I've got 3 kids to entertain for an hour and a half. But you do it because you for the love of them, the love of the club and the love of the game. And as for what we can do as LinnetsLive, I mentioned it to someone, I can't remember who it was, but I said basically we've got to. There's fans at the moment that obviously we started doing it when fans couldn't go. We've now got fans who aren't going because COVID's happened, either shielding or they don't feel comfortable. We need to keep them engaged. We need to keep those fans and keep them as Linnets fans so that when we do to return to some kind of normality and we can have fans in and we can reduce the COVID restrictions in the ground and people can, we can have the bar open and everything, that those people come back. And that's what me and Sam are playing our part in keeping them interested. If they're tuning in, one of our good friends, Rob Finley, used to go all the time. He sort of took the COVID restrictions and that seriously, and he stopped going. But he tuned in every game to listen to us. I think the Trust Secretary Dave Bettley, he's shielding. I think he's got his elderly mum living with him, so he's not been to any games. He listens to the Linnets games, and there's a whole load of fans like that who rely on us to find out what's going on in the game. So that's why we do it as well, because ultimately we want, I think I said to someone on Twitter the other day, football's not a TV show. It's also not a radio show. We want people in the ground watching the game, but if you can't get there, then tune in, listen to us, and we'll try and paint a picture for you.
And Sam, kind of what I wanted to talk about as well as bit is kind of, again, since we've come into the club, obviously there's been a number of games which we've just not been able to get to. Obviously, kind of distance from us has been a bit of trouble, and we're speaking as a group of the day, and we've only been able to cover 2 home games in out of the times we've been here. And kind of the having you and Dave as doing the radio every game, we kind of know that we've got that info coming. And one of the elements I found really good about the Mixler thing they use is the ability to speak on the commentary. So we can type a message to you and it kind of comes through and you can relay that. How many jobs do you want on a game? You've got the radio coverage, you've got me checking this. How difficult is that?
I think the Mixler chat box works itself out. It's connected to the software. It's just on the screen all the time. If someone asks a question, we see it as soon as it's answered. And I think what I originally wanted to do when I did the radio show, now the people who listen know that as soon as the halftime whistle goes, it sort of dies for sort of 10, 12 minutes while we sort of halftime. What my future idea is to hopefully work out that software a little bit more, because I'd like to have maybe the first half an hour before the game starts, halftime, and maybe half an hour after as almost a talk sport phone in. Call in, we can get you on the radio, we'll have a chat, you can ask a question, you can give your point on what you thought of the game, people can be driving home and give us a ring and sort of almost take it to that level. So the chat box has been vitally important to us, because it gives us that easier option of, instead of having to connect other bits of software to the main software, people can just ask a question. I know you've used it yourself when you've been covering games, and we get a lot from Callum's other half, Emily. She uses it quite a lot when she can't get to the game. Tina, we have all these people who will just bombard it with, as soon as a goal goes in, Dave will tell you, you can see that get in, fly through the chat box in seconds. So it's been as much as it is connected to the software, it's been vitally important for me and Dave to have sort of talking points through the game.
Well, I think I've sort of said to you, since obviously Sam's took over as social media manager, fan interaction's a huge thing for me. And that helps with that as well, because they're not just listening to us, we're interacting with them as well. You know, they'll ask us a question and we'll answer it, you know, live on air. So everyone gets to hear the answer. You know, or if someone asks about, you know, how such and such playing, or how, you know, we can answer it, and it's all about interaction, especially when it's a club like ours. With, you know, we don't have massive commercial partners. We have commercial partners that we're obviously very grateful for, and without them, you know, that it's a big contribution to our budget. But the fans are the biggest part of our playing budget. Comes from fans, you know, admissions, buying beer, buying programs, buying pies, whatever. So fan interaction's a massive thing for me, and having the chat box on there is just another part of that. If people like the fact that they can talk to us during the game and they know that we're gonna reply. So yeah, it's been really good. I think one of the things we're going to be doing next year as well, or Sam will, is doing the football web pages updates as well. So it's funny you should say, do you want to do any other jobs? Because I'm adding another one to his list.
I'm conscious that we are running out of time, so I kind of just wanted to end it by asking you both a big question, and hope that you'll give me a very concise answer. But kind of, if we were to sit here in a year's time, and if I was to ask you the question of where will the Linnets TV and LinnetsLive be in 1 year's time, where, in your opinion, will that be?
So I think LinnetsLive has sort of took the forefront of Linnets Media itself, because it seems to be the most interactive avenue. As we were talking about the TV show before, from where it started to where it began, it was just me and Dave. As soon as the game kicked off, as soon as the game finished, now it's become a 30-minute pre-game. We give a man of the match out. We then talk to the man of the match. I think it's just a case of where can we take it next. So can we do a phone in? Can we maybe talk to a player before the game and after the game? And I think the world's our oyster, really, when it comes to media. There's so much technology out there at the moment that we can take it pretty much wherever we want. We'd like to maybe get some more views on the TV show when we can get back to that, just to try and push that sort of a little bit out. And we're going to sort of talk between myself, Dave, the media team itself. Hopefully, with Dave's new role, I don't want to speak for Dave, but he'll probably take a back step on the commentary now. But we'll hopefully be bringing in Jack Walsh, who is not the run calling central midfielder, who's also a fan who will hopefully be coming in to join me. We also possibly could be having another co-commentator that was at Prescott Cables with me, Luke Jones. He could be coming on and helping to do some co-commentary. So the object really is to just expand to wherever we can and take it to as far as we can, as quick as we can, really.
One of the things I mentioned to Sam, funnily, at the Cables game, is because I wasn't on commentary duty, I was there as a fan. there was certain things that I was getting messages saying, was this, that, was this, was it a penalty? Was it this, was it that? And from where I was, there was one where it was a blatant penalty, but Sam couldn't see it because he was all the way in the stands. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was maybe, or I mentioned it to Sam, was even having like goal side comment, match side reporters. So have someone behind you can dial in, or can get in whatever, and can Sam can go to Dave's behind the goal. What was that from your point of view? Oh, it was definitely a penalty, Sam. Anything like that. And I think we want to do a lot more live stuff as well. Like until the season was curtailed, me and Sam were going to host the end of season awards evening and try and do it live as well. Obviously now I'm chairman, I'm going to have to do that anyway, so that's something that we're going to do again for the end of this season. Hopefully we'll be able to do something like that. We can do sort of almost do like sort of evenings with the players, and anything like that. I think with having Callum on board now, Callum's come from Chester, he's used to doing media. I think there's so much more we can do getting the players involved. I mean, you found yourself, Dan, haven't you, how eager the players are to do stuff like that. So get them more involved. Callum's, will do whatever we need him to. I think we can really take the media stuff to another level in the next year.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to end it, guys. And thank you for coming on and joining me and talking about your role within the Linnets TV and Linnets Live.